The following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Listener or viewer discretion is advised. This podcast episode is for educational purposes. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast does not reflect the views of our employers. Where applicable, any allegations are alleged until proven in a court of law.
Thank you so much for watching this upcoming episode. Please don't forget to like, follow, and share.
Hey, Ousters! As always, thank you so very much for joining us in this episode of Oust Now Podcast. I think this one is going to be very fun, T. And the title in itself says it's going to be fun. So, 11 unbelievable conspiracy theories that were actually true.
Dun, dun,
Girl,
dun.
you know, when it comes to conspiracy theories, I'm just saying, sometimes I can be on board. Because some of it seems like, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Have you ever, like, you heard something, you're like, yeah, probably so, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I honestly felt when I first glanced at the very first one. Number 11 on the list. Now, this article was written by Kevin Sartorelli. When I saw the very first one, I was like, not surprised.
But also one we've known for a while.
Correct.
If you know anything about like history, if you don't know, now you will know.
That part. So, do you want to let everybody know what 11 is?
All right. So the first one, I mean, listen, you guys, now this is going to go in order of, I guess, from descending. It's going to go descending. And if you have paid attention to history in any shape or form, I'd say you would probably know this. But in case you don't, because there's people who, now I ain't gonna lie, I don't really like going down a conspiracy rabbit hole. Like, I need facts to back up things because I'm very, I don't know, maybe I'm kind of analytical, kind of, not very. But like I need proof of things. Like I don't want to like walk down a conspiracy rabbit hole without actually knowing. But we know this right here has been proven fact, and it is the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, where in 1932 the U.S. Public Health Service conspired with the Tuskegee Institute to create a phony syphilis treatment program. And the experiment, which involved lying to almost 400 African-American men who had been diagnosed with syphilis, was initially only supposed to last 6 months, but it took until 1972 before the public became aware of the research and the government was forced to investigate and shut the program down. 1932, 1972. And for 40 years, it's in here in the article, these 400 men were often given, chemicals, painful, unnecessary medical procedures under the guise of actual treatment, even though penicillin was known to be a cure for it. So it I guess now it would be classified as an infection because it can be treated with penicillin. So at the time it would have been, I guess it's a disease, but now it's just an infection because in my brain, I don't know. I guess it's a disease to the medical people, but it's actually an infection if it's something that's curable with something that we've all known to be penicillin. The government panel eventually deemed the study ethically irresponsible, and the 1974 class action suit was settled out of court for $10 million, with lifetime health benefits for the surviving participants. 1974, $10 million class action suit. Like, come on, just do the right thing. Was that even necessary?
And with that being said, syphilis, it affects your brain, your mind, if it's left untreated. So the mental, not just the physical, but the mental aspect of it for these poor men being experimented on. It's sad.
What's the next one? Now this one.
Girl. MK Ultra. The CIA mind control project. Girl, stop. I'm sorry. I really did not look. I should have kept reading a little bit further. Wow, that's really true.
There was a movie about that with that guy from.
It sure was.
What was his name? He has like beautiful blue eyes, but turned out to not like black people, calling them the N word and whatnot. What was his name? He did Braveheart. What was his name? He directed it. That it's a masterful movie. That movie is a masterpiece. And what's his name?
Give me a minute.
Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson.
Wait a minute. He don't like black folks? What?
I don't know. But he went on a tirade one day, calling people the N-word.
Girl, don't say that. Don't. Dang.
Let's make sure that's not a conspiracy theory.
When they say, listen, when they say ignorant is bliss, I'm so disappointed.
Why do you think his career he just went a little bit like
tanked?
It tanked.
I thought that it had tanked because the conversation, wasn't that him that had some type of conversation with one of his kids and like they was recording it? No.
He went on a racist rant to his wife. If you ever wonder why he just kind of fell, like, you don't really see him in things, and if you do see him in things, it's like a B-rated movie. It's not a movie like he used to be of his old caliber.
Girl, I'm so damn disappointed.
Here's the Irish Examiner. Now, this made like tabloid news, and I'm just gonna do a quote and bleep some stuff. Now, he was okay. Now, I'll get back to the point here. You were an embarrassment to me, Gibson allegedly begins. You look like a effing pig in heat. And if you get blank by a pack of blank and word, ... And he has said things, I believe, that are anti-Semitic and stuff like that. So, I'll still watch Braveheart, but anything new I probably wouldn't watch. That movie was a masterpiece, I think, personally. But he was in a movie with Julia Roberts I love that movie. It was such a good movie. Maybe I'd watch that one again. But that talked about this. But you think like it's just fiction, but apparently not, according to this here.
And I love Lethal Weapon, all of them. Every last one. I'm so hurt right now.
Poor Danny Glover. James.
Right?
So we was co-workers. Friendly co-workers.
Tell me how you really feel. But there was another movie. And this one had Denzel Washington and do you remember that one? And Eric, that guy.
Yep.
What was the name of it? It was so good. And wasn't that movie so good? I thought it's not just me. I thought that movie was so good.
It was good.
It was Denzel Washington and that other guy. I used to think he was so cute with his little short self.
Okay, he's not short. Leaf Schreiber's tall. What you talking about?
Is he tall? In the movies, he makes him look short. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about. If it's the same person, yeah, but Leaf
The
Schreiber,
light
I don't think
skin.
he's short.
No. Look, hold up.
It's the Manchurian Candidate.
That's the one. He's not short. He looks so short in the movie. Like he looks like he's short. He's not short.
Maybe it's a different actor.
I used to think he's so fine.
Wait, are you talking about
The
Jeffrey
one that
Wright?
played it. Yes, that's him.
Okay, yeah. I was like, wait, he wasn't one of the main actors, so I forgot he was in this movie. Holy crap! I always remember him from that from Shaft when he played like the Dominican.
Yeah,
I was like, how do you do that? I lived in Washington Heights. It was very accurate. I know my peoples. Incidentally, his name was Peoples.
I was like, he still is nice looking.
Mm-hmm.
He's still very nice looking. But nonetheless, yeah, that's another good one. That is about this topic. Girl, let me read it. It's the 1950s and communist spies are everywhere. The Cold War is heating up and it looks as though the Soviet Union might gain the upper hand on American democracy. What would you do? With the hopes of discovering a truth serum, the CIA decided they needed to secretively dose unwitting US and Canadian citizens. I'm sorry. When I see LSD, I was like, oh my God.
So 80s. So 80s. Since that wacky tobacco came around, what's that? Who do they even talk about that anymore?
Girl, LSD. I'm sorry. Okay. Interrogate. Oh. And occasionally torture the participants. It was funny till they said the torture part. The CIA paid hospitals, prisons, and universities for their participation and their silence. 1973. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered that all documents related to MK Ultra be destroyed. While the conspiracy was eventually uncovered, nobody involved in the project remembered the details, and a complete timeline of events remains incomplete.
Must have been all that LSD.
Girl,
that's
LSD. I could see that. I could see.
That's terrible.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
It's not funny. I'm sorry.
Wait, that's terrible. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm not surprised that they don't.
I mean, did they start with the mice and then it just kind of went because we need a human? I mean, the thing is, you let people agree to do it. Just don't do it unknowingly. I don't think anyone would technically agree to do this. I don't know, but I mean, there's crazy people out there, and you know what? I was invited to do a study with a hospital recently. I was like, hell no! I know about Henrietta Lacks. Thanks, but no thanks. If you don't know about Henrietta Lacks, look it up. But I was invited to a hospital because whatever, and I was like, why would I do this? I don't think so. For a second, I ain't gonna lie, I did think about it. I was like, well, there's a lot of things in healthcare that within our community that goes untested. Like they develop medicines, but it's not really It's tested on a certain population. It's not tested to see how it's going to affect the Black community or Hispanic community. So when they do clinical trials, it's not, there's a lot of things that are missing in those clinical trials because our people won't volunteer. And rightly so. Henrietta Lacks. That company made millions off of her DNA, millions, and they didn't get a fucking dime from it. They had to sue for it. With the fact that, we biracial, however, whatever you want to fucking call it, we have a lot of we have a mix within my DNA that I was like, wow, this can actually be helpful to other people. But then I was like, hell no, you're not getting rich off of me. Anyway, but yeah. But just there's people out there who I'm sure would volunteer because they feel like, hey, maybe the risk is worth the reward if within the medical community they would provide better health care. When you look at the jackass at the helm right now talking about how Black children should be on a different vaccine schedule because they have a better immune system, which is completely untrue. Yeah, so just saying, sometimes it's necessary, but maybe somebody would volunteer, but in our community, we choose not to because Tuskegee, Henrietta Lacks, the jackass at the helm of our healthcare, I said it. Maybe it's the worm in his head. I refuse to retract that.
Girl, I love you. Some things need to be said. And with everything that's going on right now.
I don't know. I know this is about this conspiracy theories, but look, there's a big one right now. Look a person who has absolutely no medical knowledge, has not been to medical school, is not a doctor, is not a scientist. I don't claim to be any of those things. Sorry. Like he has nothing. All he has is conspiracy. And a man who only has conspiracy and is leading this shit show is a problem. But what do I know? I'm just a simpleton.
And because you're Black, your immune system is a shit, girl. I just want
so
you to
they
know.
say. If you wonder why we sit here and we be like, we look at certain things that are considered conspiracy theory and thinking that, this could be true, because sometimes it can be. But it's easy, like sometimes you don't want to go down that path because it's like, I need facts, I need proof. It took however many years, 40 years for the proof to come out about that, about Tuskegee. Jeez. But the next one is kind of, I read this and I was actually quite confused. Now, please know, we're assuming this fella did his research. But we know with Tuskegee, it's true. That's a well-known fact. The mind control thing, I ain't surprised. But this one here, when I read it, I was like, I'll wait because I'm confused by this. Why is it considered a conspiracy theory? Because this is a conspiracy theory that was maybe disputed and known to be disputed and proven to be wrong. But and then the title of the episode is that we're actually proven to be fact. So this one, I said, I'll wait till we kind of hop on to kind of dissect this one because I was confused. So number 9 on the list is the 1990 testimony of Naira. So in October of 1990, a 15-year-old girl named Naira offered testimony to the U.S. Congress stating that she had witnessed Iraqi soldiers taking 15 Kuwaiti babies out of incubators and leaving them on the floor to pass away. The testimony aired on about 700 television stations throughout the United States. The president at the time, former President George Bush Sr., repeated the story at least 10 times in the following weeks in an attempt to sway public opinion toward supporting the Gulf War. The problem is that the events described by this young person was a complete fabrication. Oh, wow. This sorry. I think when I read that line, I was like, I don't understand this. And then I stopped reading because it proceeds to say the CIA requested that Naira receive acting lessons before she testified. It was also discovered that she was the daughter of a Kuwaiti ambassador to the US who worked with the Kuwaiti government. Wow. To promote US involvement in the Gulf War. In response to these findings, Amnesty International accused the Bush administration of opportunistic manipulation of the international human rights movement. Say what? But how is it a conspiracy that is true? I question this one a lot. I questioned this one a lot because I'm like, where is it a conspiracy that turned out to be true? This is a conspiracy that turned out to be a fucking lie. Or is it just me?
Maybe the fact that she lied and the fact that the people who had a hand in the lie is what turned out to be true, not the actual lie.
The people that were
Am
coercing
I
us into
am
it.
I
I gotcha.
right? The part about the babies may have been the lie, and then the conspiracy that was put together to have this lie put out there. Does that make sense? I'm thinking that
The
must be what it
conspiracy
is.
to get us involved. And we did.
Yes.
I was like, I was
That
focused on the girl, like, but that was a lie. So how was that even true? But yeah, that makes more sense. That
I
makes more
get it.
sense.
I was about to say people have gone through great lengths for less. It doesn't surprise me that people would push certain buttons so that their agenda could be pushed. So let's get her to tell this lie. So that way we can get our agenda accomplished. Maybe that's the whole
You know what?
conspiracy.
This
You know
sounds
what I mean?
very familiar because if you think about, or if you look at the stuff that's like happening now, it kind of feels like how do I put this? I mean, let me back up a second. First of all, we should have intelligence, and the intelligence community should be able to either dispute or verify these things before you fucking take it and run with it. I am not the smartest person in the world, but if you are the leader of our great nation, you hear it one time and then you spout it out 100 times within 10 days of hearing this thing. Wouldn't that be something that the intelligence community should be able to prove or disprove before you take it and run with it? I don't know. That's one thing. But then what I see this parallel to some of the things that we have seen now, which I won't get into because it's highly disputed when it comes to certain things. So it's like if there's this heavy dispute on it, there's really no facts. So it's just one person's, word against the other. But there seems to be a parallel what we're seeing now, trying to get us involved in things that are happening overseas that we have no business being in because, hey, guess what? We are across the fucking ocean. I think that sometimes, people try to exert their power into things to express their dominance and as a country, and it really can harm real people. So while they're sitting there with pissing matches about who's the right person, who's the wrong person, no, we're in the right. No, we're in the right. Oh, you're wrong. You fucked up and you did this. Yo, y'all are two grown people can come to a consensus But two grown people leading countries in a fucking pissing match. It's weird to see it.
That part. Facts.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
crazy. I was going to use a more inappropriate terminology. So I'm happy you used that one because I was going to say the demeasuring contest.
That would have been highly appropriate. Very, very appropriate.
Let me whip this out for you.
I wouldn't mind it. Our listeners may not have either because they know it's true.
So the next one, which is number 8 in this article, Operation Snow White, the Church of Scientology versus the U.S. government. During the 1970s, 5,000 covert agents from L. Ron Hubbard's Church of Scientology conspired to perform the largest infiltration of the U.S. government in American history. The church infiltrated 136 organizations, including the IRS, the DEA, foreign embassies, and other government agencies. They installed wiretaps and stole hundreds of documents with the hopes of protecting their church and from paying millions of dollars in taxes. The U.S. government fought back in July of 1977. The FBI organized a raid of various Scientology locations involving 156 agents. The raid uncovered the group's illegal actions against the government as well as additional conspiracies against other perceived enemies of the church. On December 6, 1979, Operation Snow White ended when Mary Sue Hubbard, wife of L. Ron Hubbard, and 10 other high ranking Scientologists received 5 years in prison, received a 5-year prison sentence. L. Ron Hubbard remains an unindicted co conspirator and spent the rest of his life in hiding. You still on the run, boo? I'm sorry.
That's
Dang.
interesting because we churches are supposed to be not for profit, and it seems like these people may have been for profit, and that's why they got their status revoked. But eventually, it was reinstated in 1993. So I mean, I guess, but for them to go to such a length to maintain it, it seems like you should have lost your 503c status because how you send was it 5,000 people to infiltrate all these different um so that's interesting. That's a lot of work. That's
And
a lot of
smart.
work and smart and feels very familiar. Feels a little familiar. Seems like there's people infiltrating parts of our now, but they're just, Christian white nationalists. Those people, yeah, those people. That's what it feels like.
That
But I
part.
don't know. I said it and taking it back. That guy, oh, that bald guy, that little munchkin of a man, bald guy.
That. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But that's quite a thing to go through. Now, the next one, number 7, you guys, I'm not even comfortable. We are not comfortable kind of going through some of this stuff. Now, we've heard snippets of this with a newscaster who talks about it, but number 7 really is where one of those alphabet companies allegedly. Remember that this is all alleged because just cover our asses. One of those alphabet companies. unalive people in several different countries. So that's why we really don't want to go into, because this article was supposed to be fun, and as we've gotten through it so far, it's like it's just a downhill slide into like, damn, this stuff is really messed up. Um, but allegedly that happened. So yeah, I'm glossing over it for a reason. And the name of this article link is history.com, history.howstuffworks.com. History versus myth, 11 unbelievable conspiracy theories that were actually true, according to the person who wrote the article, which is the key word, according to that. I don't know if this is fun anymore.
Girl.
We're glossing over that one purposefully, people. All right, let's go on to number 6.
So, number 6, the business plot. Fascism in America. In 1933, Senator Prescott Bush, father of George Bush Sr. and grandfather of George W. Bush, tried to create a military group against President Franklin D. Roosevelt and installed a fascist dictatorship in the United States. The plot included wealthy businessmen from Chase Bank, Goodyear, Standard Oil, GM, and the DuPont family. Marine Corps Major General Smedley Butler was asked to lead the group. Apparently, no one did a background check before they approached him. Good for you. I love that.
I love it for them. They ain't know what they ain't know.
Girl. Smedley Butler, who was a vocal supporter of FDR, gathered evidence of the conspiracy and presented it to a congressional committee. Everyone implicated in the plot fiercely denied any involvement, and no criminal charges were ever filed. Surprise, surprise. The committee confirmed Butler's allegations, but was satisfied with having the conspiracy stopped before it started. The people who backed the business plot maintained financial ties to the Nazi Germany with Nazi Germany until America entered World War II. You breathing slow over there, girl. What?
I guess the part that, well, one, the DuPont family, they poisoned a lot of people with the chemicals that they put in all of their products. And it took years. If that docu movie is correct, it took like 20 plus years to get them to do the right thing. They were poisoning, like the runoffs from the chemicals was bleeding into farms and killing cattle, animals, farm animals, and even people. Now that there's a movie about it. It's based on a true story. I forget the name of the actor. He's a really good actor. But it's shocking. That's the DuPont, that those people. And then even the people who back this whole plot having business ties to like Nazi Germany, until like they were like, I get like there's an aspect of doing business and sometimes it's just business. It's about the money, it's not personal. However, knowing that at that time they were literally unaliving people, putting them in concentration camps, you maintained a business relationship with them. And the only thing that forced you to sever those ties was the fact that our country was entering the world against it, and the war against it. So had it not been for that, they would have been actively doing business with a country that was killing people because of who they are. That's shocking. It's all about the money. Some of these companies, which, like I said, I understand business. I've worked in business. So like I have a basic understanding of it, but there are businesses out there who still remain true to their principle and know that they're not going to do certain things when it comes to the good of humanity and not their fucking pockets. Just saying. Anyway, this was supposed to be fun and now I'm just like angry. Okay, number 5. So in 1948, Frank Wisner was appointed the director of the Office of Special Projects and told to create an organization that was capable of producing propaganda and engaging in economic warfare as part of the global war against Soviet communism, who the Soviet Union no longer exists as it stands today. That alphabet company that starts with a C, ends with an A, took control of the office in the 1950s and maintained a secret campaign to influence media around the world for almost 25 years. Not surprised. F blank X News. Wisner owned Wisner owned, quote unquote, meaning they were indebted to him in some way, respected members, according to the person who wrote the article, because again, this is all alleged, respected members of the New York Times, Newsweek, CBS, and other media outlets. And by the 1950s, there were around 3,000 Alphabet employees and dozens of large global media outlets working to maintain a complex propaganda machine. Wisner, who was always looking for new ways to convince the public of dangers of communism, facilitated the 1954 animated Hollywood production of George Orwell's Animal Farm. The Church Committee exposed the conspiracy in 1975 and calculated that misinforming the world cost taxpayers $265 million a year. Now this took however many years? So $265 million a year from the 1950s to the 1975s. It's a wonder there's a shortfall with Social Security. Just saying.
I'm saying, girl, if I had some tea, I would sip on that one. COINTELPRO, the FBI versus 1960s activists. In 1960s, the 1960s was a time of radical social change. The counterculture blossomed into a full-blown anti-establishment phenomenon that spread across much of the Western world. In response to the growing counterculture, the FBI created COINTELPRO, or the Counterintelligence Program, for the purpose of protecting national security, preventing violence, and maintaining the existing social and political order. In other words, its purpose was to illegally disrupt dissident political organizations within the United States. COINTELPRO was active between 1956 and 1971. According to FBI records, 85% of the program's resources were spent on marginalizing, infiltrating, and disrupting groups such as the women's rights movement, the nonviolent civil rights movement, the Congress of Racial Equality, the American Indian Movement, and other civil rights groups. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover ordered FBI agents to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of these movements and their leaders. Facts. I could see that.
Yeah, I can't believe anyone would be surprised by this when we've heard snippets of this throughout the years with different movies that are based off of facts, like between MLK Jr., where they try to discredit him because of his infidelities, where they have like tapes of his phone calls to discredit that movement, Malcolm X, and even looking like the Black Panther Party or Fred Hampton. Like he was he was what, 18, 19 years old, and he seemed to be making a lot of waves and movement within that the equal rights movement, and we all know what happened to him. So, not
Yeah,
surprising here.
not at all. Sad, but not surprising.
Operation
Girl,
Paperclip. Nazi scientists find employment in America. I have heard this before. In fact, there's a Netflix documentary about a concentration camp survivor who saw one of her abusers. I've got to find the name of it. And they brought him up on charges. I wish I could
I've
remember,
heard
but he
about that.
claims that he wasn't that person. But I would think that you know who was the person who facilitated the death of many
Didn't
people.
they? Didn't they do some type of DNA or ancestry to try to see if it was him? Isn't it something they did?
I don't know. I never watched a documentary because I was like, this is too fucking tragic.
I
How
vaguely I vaguely remember. I believe he was passing himself off as assumed identity or something like that,
Mhm.
and they had to prove that it was him. I did hear about this. I did.
um
Isn't there a whole movie about this?
I don't know about the movie. I remember the
Documentary.
documentary. Yeah.
That's what,
Let me see Netflix
yeah.
documentary. Oh, yep, that's the name of it. It's called the documentary is called The Devil Next Door. I never found myself watching it because some things I find too hard. Like I've been on a documentary kick these days. But according to this article here, in 1945, the Joint Intelligence, golly, do you wonder why acronyms are a thing? Because look at this long name, Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency was given authorization to offer over 1,500 German scientists, technicians, and engineers from Nazi Germany and other countries employed in America. President Truman agreed to the program with the explicit instructions that it only includes those who were not found to have been a member of the Nazi Party and more than a nominal participant in its activities or an active supporter of Nazi militarism. This meant that Werner von Braun, Arthur Rudolph, and Hubertus Strughold, who were listed as a menace to the security of the Allied forces, would not be allowed to find new employment in the US of A. The Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency decided these men were of vital importance to the development of the US rocket program, created false employment and political biographies for the scientists, and completely destroyed all evidence connecting them to the Nazi war machine. How convenient for us. All
Wow.
of this just to go to
Sad.
space. But the fact that we couldn't do it on our own and we needed, we would have gotten there, maybe a little bit longer, but within the space race, but maybe we would have been the first, we would not have been the first ones to land on the moon. But where is our
Mm.
integrity? Where is our integrity? Um, and then who's to say that these men were not integral parts of it? Because it's not like you could know. I mean, maybe they could. How could you know how integral they were in the Nazi regime? But I think as we were reading through this, there's a part of me that said, I think in times of uncertainty like this, I wonder if the mindset really is, well, can't stop this train from rolling. So there's a part of me, and I'm not saying this is right, but if you are a citizen in a country where things are changing so drastically and severely, and you know that you can be protected, or you and your family be protected in like a freight train that's rolling that you cannot stop, what do you do?
Right.
I'm not saying it's okay, but it's a question I ask. Like, what do you do here? It's like you can't beat them, so it's either you join them or they harm you or your family for not joining them. Like, what is the alternative here? Like, I don't know.
And And in all honesty, and I could be wrong with this too, though, but I think to myself, um, at that time, they might have felt like the work was more important. Um, you know,
The
sometimes,
scientists or
yeah,
like
they might have felt like yeah, they might have felt like the goal and the objective was more important than. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't. And this is just me going down the conspiracy theory or whatever. It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't know that some of them were who they were, but they felt like their objective was more important. But then when it came out, then that's when it was like,
cover up. I
we
mean,
got to fix this. No?
yeah, I mean, we've heard this before.
Yeah.
There's this parallel that I'm drawing to like some of the stuff that we're seeing now. It's like we can't control what's happening right now. We just got to live in it and work within it. So what do? Like being afraid to speak out against certain things because, hey, there might be retribution, you might lose a job, like all of those things. So, like, what do you do if you are staring in the face of a man like that, this evil person? What do you do? It's either look, get on board or not. And then if the not, you're going to end up in one of these concentration camps. So, like, it's a terrible choice to have to make. Do you just decide to work within it so you can just for survival purposes?
I would say it depends on their level of responsibility, right? So there's certain things that I would like to be vocal about in my own personal life, but I know I can't be vocal about that because I have other people depending on me.
Hmm.
So that definitely plays a part in it. And me personally is what I would think. I would think, hey, especially I would say then, and the reason why I say especially then is because um I look at maybe the times, right? And the households was being supported by men, and I'm pretty sure there might have been some things that was seen or done that maybe they wasn't in agreement with, but they have families they have to take care of and provide for.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine a level of maybe even guilt from some, you know, because they felt silenced or unable to even, to do anything about even the things they didn't agree with. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was some that was definitely on board. Don't
Oh,
misunderstand what I'm saying.
there's always
You
those.
know,
Yeah.
right. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure there was some that kind of felt forced into it.
Yeah.
I'm sure,
Yeah. It's
you know.
like if you've ever seen the movie Schindler's List, um, it was a very powerful movie with another guy who got in trouble for calling minorities out other than what they are. Like, oh my God, like it was a powerful movie. And but the thing is, like, there's ways around it, right? What he did, like, he gave the appearance of like, I am part of the regime. I am loyal to this regime, and how he saved, created this whole, what is it? He created a whole, not business, a whole factory using people from the concentration camp, but keeping them alive by proving that there is a need to keep these people alive so they can create these products for the war effort. Fucking genius. Like, oh, I'm gonna save some lives. I'm gonna be as loyal as I can be to this regime, but also holding true the best I can to what I think is right and what's wrong. And if that movie portrays it accurately, I say if that movie, clear word, if, right? If it portrays it accurately, then he somehow managed to balance out like I need my need for survival, and my need for survival is to be loyal to this regime, and my morality tells me that I can save at least some people. And he did it. So that's it's an interesting thought to look at people like this and feel like, there's a part that everyone missed. Like you could literally end up being unalive because you chose to go against someone like that. So these are really hard decisions to have to make. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang,
And yeah.
that's a tough one.
I definitely, yeah. This wind up being a little bit tougher than I guess I anticipated. Maybe if
Trash.
I would have maybe if I would have did my homework and really skimmed
Same.
over it good. I thought we was gonna be in here talking about aliens and stuff. I'm sorry.
Same. I mean, like I skimmed it and it was like, oh, okay, this will be fine. And then it was like when you get to the nitty gritty of it, it's like,
Right. That part.
say what now?
Yeah. Yeah. So Operation Northwoods. So this is number 2, and we are almost to the finish line. How to wage war on Cuba. The U.S. government was involved in several crazy conspiracies during the 1950s and 1960s. Operation Northwoods was probably the nuttiest of them all. In 1962, the alphabet, starting with a C and ending in an A, I usually just read it, but I'm pretty sure it's reasoning behind. So we're just going to say it like that. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, I really apologize for everybody. Now, plan to stage terrorist attacks on American citizens and military targets in Miami and Washington, blaming it on the Cuban government and convince the American public to wage war on Cuba, which had, under the direction of Fidel Castro, recently became communist. The plan involved killing innocent people and soldiers, blowing up U.S. ships and Cuban refugee boats, hijacking airplanes, and planting phony evidence to implicate the Cuban government. Operation Norwood was authorized by Joint Chief of Staff and President of Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara before President John F. Kennedy rejected it. Of all the great things JFK is remembered for, we should be most thankful that he had the power to stop this buffoonery. Girl, they should have said stop this bullshit. That seemed more right, accurate. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Agreed.
Girl, the extent, and this kind of goes into exactly what I was saying earlier with the other um alleged, right?
Mhm.
Conspiracy theory that allegedly turned out to be true. Um it's crazy the extent people will go to meet whatever their agenda is to kill innocent people and blame somebody else. Just to do what?
Yeah.
And what would have been gained?
I can't tell. I couldn't understand like what would be the well, thank you, JFK, for being like, nah, that ain't happening.
Thank you. Somebody
Thank you.
having some sense and some morals and some dignity and some concern about the value of human life other than your own and own agenda.
Yeah, and it's what I think is funny about this is a lot of the things that they're talking about here. Now, again, this is not all fact. You don't have to quote us. This we just thought it would be a fun thing that we realizing was not exactly fun to kind of run through. I, like you, was thinking, let's talk about these aliens, but whatever. But some of the things that they're talking about here are a lot of the same rumors that circulated around after September 11th when we did the so This Is Us on Condoleezza Rice and us, we talked about like we still don't understand like this. A lot of this doesn't make sense because we waged war in a country that had nothing to do with September 11th at all. Where was the intelligence community? And then her thought process or the thought mindset that was like, well, do you want to wait to find out, or we're gonna start thumping before we fucking find out, and then we wrong, we wrong. Okay. But then you hear something like this. And then you're like, was this just another ruse was that a ruse to suit an agenda? I'm not saying that, September 11th is a hard day for us. Um, on a few levels, right? So that's not what we're bringing up. But a lot of those same conspiracies appeared, theories around the same, just like what we just read about, if there's any real truth to this. Wow. And then last but not least, no, last for this non-fun topic here.
And thank God.
Thank God, right. Bohemian Grove. This was the number one, according to this article, the number one unbelievable conspiracy theory that turned out to be true is Bohemian Grove, the rich, the powerful, and the giant stone owl. The mysteries surrounding the Bohemian Grove in Mount Rio, California, have been a favorite topic amongst conspiracy theorists for many years. The stories usually involve rich and powerful men meeting in the woods every year where they engage in pagan rituals and worship a giant stone owl. The owl reportedly plays voice recordings of member Walter Cronkite. Sounds pretty kooky, huh? Well, it turns out that CBS, NBC, and ABC have confirmed the existence of the Grove. Why couldn't it have been more shit like this? I'm just sorry. Okay. The Bohemian Club was formed in 1872 and quickly received attention and funding from wealthy businessmen. In 1942, note men. In 1942, the Grove hosted a meeting for the Manhattan. Oh, jeez. Just when I thought, oh my God. In 1942, the Grove hosted a meeting for the Manhattan Project that led to the creation of the atomic bomb, which, while it's true that the most powerful men in the world come here and perform strange rituals in front of a giant owl, it's mostly just a place for powerful men to behave like drunken frat boys. Drunken frat boys who somehow thought of the atomic bomb. Drunken frat boys can be dangerous.
Girl, I really did have that moment like you. Like, oh, this is quirky. This is what
Finally,
I'm
some fun.
expecting. And then they hit you with the right, left uppercut. They created the atomic bomb.
It led
Well,
to the.
look at there. It led to the creation of the atomic bomb. Well, girl, this was not fun.
Kevin Saltarelli. Seriously?
I thought this was gonna be fun. I'm
boo, trash. I just can't. I was like, oh, we can find some fun. This might be fun. Yeah.
It was not. It wasn't. But I feel like I have learned some things. Not, you know, I know that and I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. I believe when it comes to things in life, you have to have supporting evidence, you have to have facts. But I also believe in my heart of hearts that it takes a combination of both. It takes a combination of my gut tells me this really stinks. It doesn't feel right. I don't feel right about this situation. Something's telling me something is going on behind the scenes that I don't see. And you have to kind of have both together and have some common sense and not be a part of the buffoonery. Um, I feel like you have to have both. You have to have, and you have to follow that instinct, and then we start finding the facts. And I feel like it's definitely a combination. That's just me. Not everybody operates like that. Some people like, oh, but you don't have any proof of that. It's true. But even things that you can't prove, you still know it to be true. You still know it. And you can take this part out, but just like the situation with my HOA, it was that feeling, oh no, they trying to play. And I didn't have any proof. They was trying to play with me, but I knew it. And eventually it kind of came out.
Yeah.
Oh,
And yeah.
wrong. No, you didn't. You had the
Like
right place. You had
it's
the
a
wrong one.
it's a fine balance. Like such a fine balance between those two. I it's such a fine balance. Like I think back to that client that I had who, like, instead of just taking ownership for the shit that he played in it and all the wrong things that he went into this situation, I think about, like, he was more willing to believe that an attorney was trying to stiff him. He was more willing to believe, like, what attorney's gonna, like, okay, I'm not saying it's unheard of, but because of the decisions that he made and from the very, very onset, like, not
Mhm.
understanding how the law works, not understanding how the county works, like, and taking clinging on to the fact that some lady at something said XYZ, trying to be helpful, which she was wrong. Like, sometimes we can easily cling on to something because we don't want to either, like, accept responsibilities for the things that we played or the role we played, and or just knowing, like, sometimes shit just fucking happens. Like, I always think about him when I think about the lengths that he was willing to go through, than just acknowledging that we wouldn't be here now had you listened over a year ago. We wouldn't be here now had you done what you were supposed to do in the aftermath of this thing. Now, I understand what his situation was different. Dealing with a loss can really stunt people, and they could be like, like stunted and like rooted into place. But if they're knocking you on your door saying, "Yo, we are about to foreclose on your house," it means like, this ain't time to waste. Either you face it now, or you're gonna face it in the future where it's gonna get worse. So, like, you got to be careful when it comes to, like, because even sometimes people just trying to be helpful can misdirect or misdirect someone out of hope, or you know what I mean. Like, it's a very weird thing. um but then you can't discount the fact that, these things exist for a reason, because they happen, like Tuskegee. Like, no one, like, it's too fucked up for it to not be true. Like, it's crazy. And it happened. It's absolutely crazy. And that shit is well known to be happening. And some of the other stuff that we went through in this article, I'm like, man, I really hope that's not true. But
I'm just not surprised about some of the things that I should have known when I read the the top of the list.
that should have been the clue. You're right.
I should have known right then and there. Girl, this is not going to be what you think it is it? Girl, we are taking a trip down history. We're not history, a trip down memory lane, and we're going to talk about some history here. When I saw that, I should have keyed in. Like, so I feel like I should have saw the red flags. I always miss the red flag.
I did here too. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, what? Why? Oh Lord, this is a poor topic choice. I hate
No,
to say it.
no. I do not at all think it was a poor topic choice. I just think we got a little bit more out of it than we were looking for. So definitely not a poor choice. Very, very good choice. In all honesty. And I appreciate it. But we definitely got some information that we could have did without. Like, I didn't even want to know. Girl, what they say, ignorant is bliss. But I'm happy that, I've been enlightened. Allegedly. Like you said earlier, everything is allegedly, because we didn't write this article and we're only going off somebody else's work. Not their work, but you know what I'm saying, their findings, not ours.
Yeah. And just because we read it doesn't mean we think all of these things are true. Some of them we have not firsthand knowledge of, but we've watched like documentaries or they're well-known stories about it. So some of them,
right.
Like DuPont wasn't, as far as them poisoning people, that wasn't even in this article, but we know they have a practice of sketchy behavior.
And as a matter of fact, when I was reading it, I was like, now that's a group that I haven't heard of in a while. And I forgot until you started talking. And I was like, oh, that is right.
Those mother effers, or the people like the Sackler family, like the people who, like, we can't ignore that this shit really be happening.
Right.
The Sackler family, they made millions and millions, maybe billions of dollars, basically creating a drug problem for Americans. And it only became a problem when it became impacting white America. Okay, let's just go ahead and say that. Because anyway, no one would have known about this, but it took years and lawsuits for half this stuff to come out. And the people who were really impacted by it, like the states got the money, but the people who were really impacted, because there's a bunch of lawsuits about it. And if I'm not mistaken, North Carolina got a cut of that pie. But the people, the families that were really, who have had losses, they didn't get that money. It went to the state to make programs and stuff like that to prevent prevention. So like it's kind of, as much as we want to sit here and be like, oh, none of this shit happens, it's like, well, it's completely plausible. But this was a fucking trash ass. This whole article was trash. Thank you for joining us for this episode. Stay tuned next week.
We cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedules and your daily routines and your life to share the good, the bad, and even the buffoonery. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please don't forget to like, follow, and share.